This teenager has no friends or girlfriend and is scared of growing up. He experiences dirty feelings and attraction to his aunt. He loses his parents and learns to be a man with an elderly neighbor. Feeling how it's good to do dirty things in Naples in the 1980s, a young boy named Fabietto lives with his parents' older brother and sister. He has no friends and no girlfriend, but he dreams about having them, so he spends all his time studying philosophy and listening to music, dreaming of going to college. In the evening, Street Yanu Aris stops at a bus stop and invites a woman to his house. She is cautious, but he knows a lot about her. He promises to solve her infertility problem and asks her to kiss a small monk statue. Then he touches her when she gets home. Patria, who has a mental disorder, argues with her jealous husband, who thinks she is too easy with other men. After learning about the scandal, Fabietto, Maria and Sario go to Patricia's house. Maria tries to support her sister during this tough time, and Beto admires his aunt. Franco is angry about his wife's bad behavior, but Sario and his son try to calm him down, explaining Patrick's actions. When they return home, the family focuses on their own problems, not thinking about others. Soon the Baroness, a woman who lives upstairs, visits them. She has a nasty personality but is wise and interesting, so Maria doesn't send her away. After her husband goes to work, Maria runs to the balcony to exchange whistles, showing their feelings. Father Abto goes to school and avoids the guys playing soccer. He is happy to make friends, but no one wants to talk to him except for the priest, who offers the guy to confess his sins. During lunch, the entire extended family gathers in the garden at the communal dining table to meet Luella's fiancé. The woman is already 42 years old but has never had a man, so everyone is looking forward to who she will bring. The children look out for Auntie through binoculars while all the family members live their own worries. Patricia and Franco continue to argue because of her emotional state and perceived easy accessibility. Grandma sits apart from the others and looks down on everyone at the table. Maria looks the most cheerful and whistles with her husband, demonstrating her passion for him. Deciding to entertain the children, she juggles fruit, causing universal delight. At the same time, the men are concerned about rumors of Diego Merida's transfer to Napoli. Some believe it is just gossip, since the legendary football player plays for Barcelona and would hardly move to Italy. In addition, their club has modest financial conditions and cannot buy out the contract of the Argentine striker. Alfredo is convinced the transfer will happen and promises Fabietto to take his own life if it doesn't. A guy with binoculars reports that he noticed Aunt Lella with her man, a 70-year-old former policeman who limps and speaks with a special device. The family teases Lella, but she ignores them because she feels happy. A little later, the family goes to the sea to swim and enjoy the weather. Lella almost causes a tsunami by jumping into the water, leaving her fiancé on the yacht. The old man decides to chat with charming Patricia, but she throws his conversation device's battery into the water. Once on the boat, everyone freezes, curiously watching Patricia. Because of her mental problems, she does not behave adequately and tans without underwear. Fabietto has a crazy passion for his aunt and can't take his eyes off her. Patricia notices this and asks her nephew to bring a towel, not hesitating to show him her figure. At some point, the family witnesses a chase as smugglers transporting tobacco products evade the police and avoid criminal penalties. On the way home, Fabita and Patricia walk behind the rest of the family. The guy feels sympathy for his aunt but is afraid to admit his feelings and leaves her alone. Returning home, Fabietto carefully examines his grandmother, but she asks him not to do this because it is too early for him to look at women. In the evening, Marcino and Fabietto discussed the news about the possible transfer of Diego Maradona. Despite his feelings for his aunt, the guy would prefer a transfer to Napoli and would turn down the opportunity to make love to Patricia. The next morning, Marcino and Fabietto go to the casting of a film by a famous director. Marino dreams of Becoming an actor and getting at least a small role but gets rejected. Fabietto is attracted to a hot girl in red but realizes she prefers rich men regardless of their appearance and age. Looking into the studio, Fabietto notices hundreds of photos of beauties on the wall and realizes that he would like to make a movie communicating with actresses and enjoying precious time with them. Returning home, the brothers freeze in place as the whole city is literally put on pause. Noticing Diego Maradona arriving in Naples upon returning home, Fabietto tells his parents, but they are skeptical considering it a stupid mistake. Maria calls the neighbors and informs them they have been invited to act in a film. Saverio reminds them that bullying is bad and the family goes to the neighbors to confess the ridiculous joke. At night, the family gets a phone call from Shay's mistress, causing Fabio's parents to fight. The mother tries to calm herself by juggling but becomes hysterical. Fabietto worries about his mother's well-being and has a seizure, which his older brother helps him out of. A couple of hours later, the family is called again, and Maria believes it is her husband's mistress. Sario reassures his wife, explaining it is a colleague at work sharing important news. The bank has issued insurance for hundreds of millions, confirming the transfer of Diego Maradona to Napoli. The next morning, Sario gives Fabietto a season ticket to the local team's home games so he can watch the world-class soccer star play. Upon returning home, Maria meets a neighbor with mental disorders. The woman is happy that her eldest son has a girlfriend but sad because of a quarrel with her husband. Mario supports the neighbor by drawing an indecent sketch, causing her to smile and laugh. Meanwhile, Saverio tells Fabietto how he met Fabio's mother. He is sure the first adult experience in a guy's life is the most important and advises his son not to be afraid and take advantage of anyone who offers to enjoy time with him. In the evening, Fabietto cannot sleep and goes to the city center where they are shooting a film by a famous director. Capuano is very demanding of actresses, which is not surprising since he creates masterpieces of Italian cinema. Fabietto admires the main actress and dreams of ending up in bed with her. After a soccer match, Fabietto meets Armando, recognizing him as a smuggler who escaped from the police. In the evening, Maria forgives her husband and the couple reconciles. Before this happens, the wife plays Sario as a fake bear. Sometime later, one of the family members is arrested for financial fraud, but no one cares because Diego Maradona scored a goal with his hand, which the referee counted. This event becomes a landmark with political overtones, and the hand of God will forever be a symbol of strength, freedom and independence. The whole city of Naples celebrates a spectacular victory, but only Fabio's grandmother is sad because of the arrest of one of her sons. She complains to her relatives, but they angrily attack and beat her. A couple of days later, Maria and Sario go to a country house. They offer Fabietto to go with them, but he refuses because he wants to attend the next game of his favorite club. His parents fall asleep on the sofa next to the fireplace, and a couple of hours later, Fabietto and Marino learned the terrible news: their parents fell into an eternal sleep, victims of a carbon monoxide leak. Fabietto wants to see their bodies but is not allowed, leading to hysteria. Sometime later, the family holds the funeral of Maria and Sario. Fabi can't cry and finds out that Aunt Patricia has gone to a psychiatric hospital for compulsory treatment. Alfredo learns that Fabietto was supposed to go with his parents and says the guy was saved by the hand of God. Sometime later, the brothers watch Maradona train and note his tenacity. Marcino has no strength to endure the harsh reality and decides to leave for Rome to start his life anew. A couple of days later, Fabietto visits Patricia in a psychiatric hospital. It turns out the infertile woman managed to get pregnant but lost the child, leading to a quarrel with her husband. She doesn't want to see him and decides it's better to live in the hospital than communicate with her husband. Confessing his sympathy to his aunt, Fabietto returns home. A neighbor on the floor above invites Fabietto to her house and asks him to catch a bat. A few minutes later, the Baroness calls Fabietto into the bedroom and asks him to read to her. The elderly woman realizes he has never had a girlfriend and decides to help. The Baroness enjoys time with him, allowing him to call her by his aunt's name. Having become a man, Fabietto decides to smoke and realizes he no longer fears dating girls. Sometime later, Fabietto cries for the first time, expressing his emotions over the loss of his parents. At the theater, he enjoys watching the actress, but understands he has no chance to get acquainted with her. After meeting Armando, Fabietto goes to the port where many girls of easy virtue are present. The pimp drives away the insolent ones. Armando beats up the man and they escape, deciding to go to the island. Here Fabio notices an Arab sheikh and a model, realizing that without money no beauty will be near him. As a result of the evening's adventures, Armando and Fabietto become best friends. A couple of days later, Armando ignores Fabietto, so he goes to the beach with his relatives. Embarrassed by his feelings, he climbs to the top of a cold volcano, listens to music, and remembers his dead parents. Marino admits he does not want to think about the past and is not going to return to Naples. He is happy in Rome and feels free. Fabietto knows he can't change his brother's mind, so he says goodbye to Marcino and goes home. Later, Fabietto watches the premiere of Capuano's movie and visits Armando in prison. It turns out Armando didn't ignore Fabietto. He was arrested and sent to jail. Fabietto stays a good friend to Armando. Fabietto goes to the theater again. During the performance, Capuano calls the actress mediocre, making her run off the stage in tears. Fabio decides to meet Capuano and ask for advice. At first Capuano ignores him, but when he learns that Fabietto is an orphan, he agrees to help. He offers to work with Fabietto on a future film. Fabietto thinks for a while but soon realizes he can't stay in Naples. He leaves his sister, who is always in the bathroom, and leaves the house without saying goodbye to the neighbors. He visits his aunt one last time and understands nothing will happen between them while the city celebrates Napoli's first Serie A title. Fabietto doesn't care about football. He goes to the train station and buys a ticket to Rome. On the way, he sees a small monk and hears the whistle his parents used to show their love for each other. He knows this is just the start of his journey to becoming an adult. Fabietto still hopes for a better future.